Hello and welcome back to the Inside Podcast.
A podcast by NUS ISCF. This is the podcast where we have conversations that illuminate faith and life. My name is Brian.
My name is Tricia, and today we're continuing our series on faith at work.
Many of us will work in industries shaped by technology, innovation, and rapid change.
But as Christians, how should we think about technology, human nature, and how they relate to our faith?
To help us unpack that, we're joined again by our guest, Prof. Halim. And Prof, welcome back. It's great to have you back again. If you missed his first episode on the introduction, he's a NUS professor in the School of Computing. And yeah, let's start.
Okay, well, let's start with the big picture, big question of today's episode, which is technology and faith. I'm sure many of us are questioning from last episode, how did you come about believing in God? You said that before coming to NUS, you weren't a believer, but then after coming to NUS, you started believing in God. Could you take us to your journey on how you actually know and become a believer now?
All right, yeah, so I came from not yet believer family. Basically, I call it not yet believer because there is a possibility. Everybody will become a believer, right? So I prefer to call it that way. Back into when I was a high school student, I was in SMOK 1, SMU Kristen 1. So that is a Christian school. So there is a pelajaran agama, religion lesson. Yeah. I want to share interesting statistical information that now I understand is very, very unlikely for that to happen. So there was a ulangan agama. Ulangan agama is a religion test, Christian religion test, where there was just 20 MCQs. So maximum is 100. So every point is 5 points, right? Yeah, I got 5 out of 100. I openly declare I got 5 out of 100. My wife knows about this. Yeah. What does it mean? It means that I only got 1 out of 20 MCQ correct. So in NUS, I set many MCQ papers. So MCQ A, B, C, D, E, and usually it's very tricky. So if suppose there are 5 options and 20 questions, if I random select all the answers for every question, I should have gotten 20 divided by 5, 4 questions correct on expectation. Yeah. But I only got 1 out of 20. Means that there are answers that I thought correct and it is wrong. So my concept of Christianity at the time was very shaky. But I'm fortunate to have friends. Friends in that school who were not afraid to invite me to their church, to the PSK. PSK is Persatuan Siswa Kristen. So there's like a weekly gathering in the library for prayer meeting, thing like that. They invited me, although they know at that time I was not a believer yet. Yeah. So the most important moment came from after Eptanas. After Eptanas in SMA 3, the last few days. Before we were already accepted by NUS at the time. So this friend of mine who also accepted in NUS, he asked me casually, "What are you going to do this Sunday?" I said, "Nothing." Then why don't you join us for his Sunday service in Jakarta? Yeah, and I said, okay, why not? Because at the time we were idling, we were not doing anything until we started university. And the topic of that day is about turning back 180 degrees away from your sin. Memorable because I feel like somebody is talking to me about that. Yeah, right. Because turning back 360 means you are continuing where you are. You have to turn back and then pointing at the same direction and just do whatever you do. But turning back 180 degrees means living your life of sin. Yeah. Then we go to NUS. Yeah, we went to NUS. Same person invited me to join NUS ISCF of that time. Yeah. Explore a few Indonesian churches around Singapore before we eventually settled in Bukit Batok. And then I started joining. There is an important milestone is EE training. So, and before the training, actually, all of us was evangelized first. So, like the first question is, do you believe that if you die tomorrow or today, yeah, will you go to heaven? I say, I do not know. That's it. The moment you say you don't know, the next few questions is this. And for those who answer yes, I'm sure, then the second question will be, how do you share? What makes you sure? If your answer is anything but Jesus, yeah, okay, there is a step checklist. Yeah. So there's another moment where I got to know what does it mean to be a believer. Yeah, I have a longer version if you are interested, but I think that's my current answer.
I can save the longer version for another podcast, but let's, continuing on with the big question, we have talked about your faith. Let's talk about the technology side, right? As someone who is working in the tech, do you think technology brings humanity closer to God or further away from Him?
All right. I'm a university professor, so most of my questions have answers that is, it depends. It depends on what. Yeah. So let's argue both sides. So I claim that technology do bring people closer to God. For example, during COVID time, we cannot even go to church. So without this kind of technology of camera, audio, multimedia, internet, like a Zoom recording or the YouTube streaming, we won't be able to do our Sunday service. We will be isolated at home and missing church for like how long? 1 year, half year, yeah. So technology can bring us closer to God. Yeah. Of course, the other side, yeah. So if we misuse technology, then like if you use your phone too often, doom scrolling your Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and you're wasting time, right? You're forgetting that about your quiet time. Okay, the first thing that you do, most Christians do in the morning now is open phone and scroll through Instagram posts instead of praying and have a quiet time. Yeah. So it's two sides of the same coin. Yeah.
A follow-up question. You say that it depends, right, on how we use the phone as our device. But maybe like in general, if we total amount everything, do you think it is more on the positive side, or do you think it's maybe a negative side?
Depends on even on the human users who is using it. So you can use technology to make you closer to God if you use it properly, or you can it can destroy you quickly. Like for example, in the past, to get forbidden things, you will need to it's very difficult to get it. But today, this can be the source of sin. Right? Okay, let's name an example. Okay, so things that cause young adults to fall into sin is like pornographic material. In the past, you will need to physically buy adult magazine just to fall into that sin. But today, it's somewhere inside your phone. Right? So technology can be a very dangerous thing to do, dangerous thing to have, if the human use it wrongly.
So I guess it's some kind of like amplify who you are as a person.
Amplify who you're, correct. Yeah.
You personally think that technology has brought you closer to God, or has it like made you further away from Him? Just you personally.
Both, both also. Yeah. It gets easier to find Christian resources these days. If I want to ask certain queries, I can at a time Google search. These days, just ask AI, what do you think about this concept about, for example, Pascal's wager? Why is it? I suppose you want to know. Then the internet or AI can tell you why is it quickly. At a time before, long ago, you will need to ask someone who is more knowledgeable. Like for example, your Sunday school teacher when you were young, or your pastor in church. Hey, pastor, what do you think about these questions about Pascal's wager? I heard about it, but I don't understand. Then you need to ask real person. This day you can just ask quickly and get the answers quickly. Yes, again, double-edged sword.
Okay, moving on. We have heard that you have this website called the World of Seven. Could you tell us more about the meaning behind the name and maybe a little more about the website itself?
Okay, so World of Seven, the name Seven came from my own name because my name's Stephen and Seven. Only one edit distance, if you know what that is. How many words that you need to edit to make the two words become similar? Yeah, only one edit, delete the two. And then I also like 7 because not just because it's my name, because it's also a perfect number, and also in Bible, number 7 is referenced so many times as being a complete number. I put not just my professional content in my website, but in the past I actually put a few writings, Christians related writings. I was told to move it to someone else, to act outside computing domain, because you need to remain professional in your official computing website. Yeah. So I left only the professional elements, but if you did a Google search, actually that website contains a few articles that I wrote about Christianity long ago. Yeah.
What made you decide to create that website?
It's free, and okay, every computing student can have a website. Just www.com.sg and then your tilde your account name. So it's free, and I want to learn about web programming at the time, web design. Why don't you just build a simple website? Yeah.
Okay.
I keep it until now.
Okay. Work and projects can also take up so much of our time and attention, right? Have you personally experienced any seasons in life where work made you feel spiritually distant from God, Prof?
Yep. I'm on certain time in the year, I will be super busy with work. And to the moment where I have to skip church, work very hard, work late, come home late, neglecting even wife and kids, just to meet deadlines. And those are moments where I felt distant with God, because I need to survive first. I try to minimize such occurrences.
Well, I'm sure a lot of us also experience the same thing, of students being so busy with work and assignment. We sometimes often decided to just leave out God, just put it aside, put it as the last option. Do you have any tips or just any things to say to us, I guess?
My tips for myself is to try to spread the peak of load. So if you know that you're going to be busy in certain period of time, and then after that it's less busy, can you spread some of this work to some other time in the week or in the month, so that this peak is not as not as very, very, very high, but manageable, so that you can still do other things in life, even during your busiest time. Not always working, but that's what I'm doing now. Try to spread the workload. Meaning that if you can do things now, don't defer until deadline. Because if tomorrow is your deadline, means that today is the last chance of you to do that thing, right? No choice. And if today is Sunday, then they say you skip church. Yeah. But if you know that the deadline is tomorrow, Monday, then the assignment was out last week, then you can actually do it a few days ago. Right?
I guess most of us are in some ways deadliners, Yeah, and that's a wrap for today. We have talked about how Prof. Stephen Halim's journey through faith and how he discovered God, and we have talked about the technology and how it can maybe be bad or good for the humanity. And it's really encouraging how we can see how God can play at work. It continue to shape the way we live and work. Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts and experience. Thank you for listening to the Insight Podcast, the conversations that illuminate faith and life. See you all in the next episode.
Bye.